आप एडमिट करते रहना whomsoever joins.
Hi all, good afternoon. I'm just checking if I'm audible. Shivendra, Kanchan,
Yes, sir, you're audible.
wonderful. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So let's see how much quorum we have. And Shivendra and Kanchan, let us know uh, when you can start.
Yes, sure, sir. So we'll wait for 5 minutes and then we'll start.
No worries, no worries. Thank you.
मग अशी ते सगळे एक्सेल शीट कसं काय करू?
अच्छा मेरा स्क्रीन विजिबल होगा. Hopefully I've shared.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Great. Hi Amiji. Good afternoon.
Shivendra, Kanchan, we are 5 minutes overdue. So
Okay, sure.
let's.
We can start.
Okay. So, hi, good afternoon, everyone. Shivendra Srivastav this side. I'm from Orbit Techsol. So, we are here with HP, and we had this collaboration call and a webinar to represent our upcoming technologies, what we are doing with HP, and how we are growing the infrastructure business, how we are growing the network business, and how we are actually increasing our footprints across the technology sector, and how we are actually moving ahead. So I'll just take everybody's time and welcome everybody to our webinar, which is being hosted in collaboration with HP, a great technology OEM, and helping us grow in this industry. So I welcome everybody to this webinar. So I'll just give you a brief of Orbit, then we'll move to the product and the technologies what we are doing together in collaboration with HP. So, just an introduction to Orbit Exol. We are a young 30 years old organization, almost completed 3 decades in the industry, and the group has been a forefront in technology. So, I feel proud to speak about Orbit Exol, a company which has a good vision, good resilience, and continuous growth pattern in the entire business sector of this environment. Since our inception, Orbit Techsol has evolved from a promising startup into a dynamic technology partner, and driven by multiple innovations, multiple client success stories. We have been a part of many big projects. So, with every project, we have expanded our capabilities, strengthening our team, and building a long lasting relationship with all our enterprises and all the industries with which we are working. So our growth has not been in numbers, but it has been in the trust what we have gained from the customer side, from the people who are joining us. This is a trust what we have been building. So probably हम इस सेशन को भी थोड़ा will have this session a bit two-way where everybody can participate and can ask. So we would love to answer you also. Like this, we'll grow together. So, just a glance that we have a good team of 800 professionals, 32 years old legacy with multi-location footprint across India and across multi other locations. So, if you see the map, we have our presence in multiple locations in India. We have our head offices in Pune and Delhi, and one of our head office in Noida. And recently, we with everybody's support and with a good, I would say, with a good amount of support from everybody, we have grown our footprints to UK as well. So we are providing our services to international business partners. We are providing our services to national business partners. So like this, we are together growing in this journey. So Orbit's engagement is probably we have all the life cycle of a execution point. We have a good life cycle in which we assess all the key pain problems of our customer. We do POC, we design the solution for them. We perform every kind of scalability solutions to them. We deploy it end to end. We have a good I would say we have a very good strength to deploy larger projects and to maintain it after the deployment and to complete the life cycle of that entire deployment. Apart from that, we have a very good vision as a trusted partner. We have our pan India presence. We have a pan India presence. Apart from that, we have a strong OEM ecosystem, which I'll show you in the next slide. And we have a comprehensive solution expertise that matters, customers centric approach and innovation and scalability, where we work with any new technology if it is required to be pushed or if it is required to be studied, then we are in front of that line. We try to understand the pain point and we try to deliver those solutions to the customer. So with our leadership, we have our promoters, Mr. Sushil Kumar Jain sir, who is our group CEO, our group CTO and CEO, Mr. Lavlesh Parasar sir, and Mr. Naren Goel sir, who is our group CFO. Just a minute. So taking it to the OEMs and the awards, what we have achieved till now for HP, we have received multiple awards in terms of the technology what we are doing from last 3 decades in the industry, and we have been awarded from Nvidia, we have been awarded from Veeam as a backup partner, and from HP also we have been awarded as a platinum partner with a legacy of 30 plus years of experience. And there are certain other awards what we received from HP in terms of selling all the solutions what HP is right now providing to the customers. So as I said in my initial slides, we have our footprint across all the products. We do multiple other products apart from data center. We have our footprints in network, endpoint computing, data protection, cyber security, and the management cycle products. So Amiji, you can take forward from here. So I'll just stop here. I have completed my part in introducing Orbit, and I would love Amitji to take it forward from here, and we can move ahead, knowing what HP is doing more.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Shivendraji. I think I couldn't agree more, and I'm overwhelmed that we have a good amount of audience on the call, and that's why we take pride in saying that Orbit has been platinum partner for HPE, loyal platinum partner for HPE, and we day in and day out we have interactions in various formats, whether it is storage BU, a compute BU, or networking BU, or whether it's part of a data protection. So, and that's what we today see as a, I would say token that we see that we have so many audience on the call. So let us get started. We have next 45 minutes. So I'm going to quickly start on the HPE data protection portfolio, and my colleague Vinay would take it further in getting into the use cases and helping us all understand on what all offerings we have on the HPE data protection portfolio. So without any further ado, let me share my screen and let me know if you are able to see my screen. Is the screen visible?
Yes, Amiji, it is visible, pretty much visible.
Wonderful, wonderful. So already we've spoke that me and Vinay will take you through. Vinay will take the later part of the conversation, and we definitely want this to be an interactive session. So ask as much as questions as you can in the chat window. So what's today's challenges on the data protection, right? So predominantly, through the research, we have seen the 3 top challenges that customers are facing. One, the obvious name, cyber threats, disruptions. They could be planned, unplanned, and cloud complexity. Because I'm seeing CFOs today coming to me and saying that, hey, we went on to an X cloud. We were promised that we will get an ROI in 3 years. We are almost in the last 4.5 years, and we'll be completing 5 years, but I'm yet to get an ROI for the investment I do. So I really want to look at a cloud repatriation thing, right? So these are the top 3 challenges what we are seeing in today's world. In today's presentation, we are going to cover the key aspects of the HPE data protection portfolio. But as you see, the spectrum of what offering comes from HPE is right from where your data gets created. So whenever you're talking about your primary storage, right from there till storing your data for a long-term retention is the solutions that we have. So we have solutions on ongoing replications. We have solutions to store your backup data. We have solution to do a rapid recovery of your unstructured data. and so on and so forth, right? So that's the beauty of HPE, that today we proudly say that we are the only OEM who has an end-to-end solution from a data protection standpoint. And let me take a minute here, and all of you would understand this, that usually backups that happen in the organization would happen once in a day or twice in a day. So ideally, if I have to recover, let's say for example, a backup happens in your existing environment at 9 o'clock in the night, which completes at 4 o'clock, right? But today we live in the world of 24/7 and data, data getting updated or data getting generated, right? So now what happens? Imagine, just try to visualize this. What happens if the backup happens at 9 o'clock and finishes at 4 o'clock? And the users come in the organizations at 9 o'clock in the morning, and they start their work, updation happens, everything is happening, and at 11 o'clock you suddenly realize that there is a catastrophic event that has happened, whether it's a ransomware attack or disaster recovery or anything that you can think of, anything that is that you can think of. Now ask yourself a question. Do you think you will be able to recover the data that has changed between morning 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock? With you can put that in the chat window if you say yes, or you can put that in the chat window if you say no, because I want this to be an interactive session. So what's your gut feeling? Do you think you will be able to recover your data which has changed after your backup that happened last night till morning 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock or whatever, and then the data has changed from 9 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock? Do you think you will be able to recover that data? I want this to be an interactive. So guys, if you think yes, you will be able to recover the data, type in yes. If you think no, you will not be able to recover the data that has recently changed, type in no. Okay, let's see what we have in the chat window here. Great. So we're seeing no. All right. No, no, no. Great. All right. Yes. Yes, Mr. Bhosleji, we will come to the solution, but yes, you are absolutely right. Great. So then we are aligned. I think now that becomes very interesting for us to get into the further conversation, because now we agree that even if we have a backup solution, no matter what that robust backup solution is, I would not, or you would not be able to recover the data that has changed between the after the backup schedule. So for example, in this example, I said from 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock. But what if I say that you can recover a data even if you get to know that you are able to recover a data at 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 59 minutes, 45 seconds. So your data loss will be only 15 seconds or 10 seconds or whatever. Does this sound interesting? In the chat window, you can type yes or you can type no. How does this sound? I mean, I want to keep it. I know I just don't want to be a one-side conversation. So folks, you can unmute also, but let's have this. Yes. So Mr. Bhosle, we will come to that. But yes, that is how that is exactly what we want to know. Any more, Mr. Rawat? Yes, great. Anybody else who wants to know that how you would recover a data which is only just few seconds back old, right? If there is a catastrophic event, even if you have your robust backup solution, you will only lose a data few seconds back old, right? Okay, Mr. Tyagi, thank you. So yes, so we have along with Orbit, we have a solution called as HPE Zerto software, which works on a complete continuous data protection, right? Which we call it as CDP. There is no agent that needs to be put in. There is no scheduling needs to be done. The moment the data gets returned to your primary site, a secondary copy of data can be sent to your DR site or to your cloud or to your multiple sites. That's the impact of Zerto. That's the impact of Zerto that it brings to the table, that you can recover data few seconds back. And this is not a marketing gimmick. This is a real technology which you would see some of our customers which are currently using. So you talk about likes of HDFC Bank, you talk the likes of Kotak Zurich, you talk the likes of Yokohama, Zydus. I cannot take all the names here. This is just confined to few names. We have 500 plus customers today in India, whether it's a PSU segment, whether it's a private sector segment, they are using HPE software, data protection software, Zerto, to protect their environment. And these are large workloads. Some of them are small, around 25 VM workload or a 15 VM or a 10 VM workload, but some of them are huge. Like for example, HDFC Bank is using 800 virtual machines. Ministry of Broadcasting is using somewhere around 400. The Ministry of Home Affairs is using 4,000 virtual machines to protect their workloads using only Zerto and store ones. We'll come to the store ones later, but yes, as you see, we have a broader spectrum from a planned to an unplanned downtime, whether you want to mitigate your hardware failures or whether you want to do the migrations, data center consolidations. Zerto will be able to fit in your any particular use case that we are today talking about. And post presentation, you can reach out to the Orbit team, because as you saw, some of these marquee names are today using Zerto. And I want to call out and thank Team Orbit that in this month itself, we closed one of a reputed healthcare organization or an hospital, which is AIMS in Delhi, right? Which is close to around 175 virtual machines, right? So that's kind of partnering that we have today with Orbit team. So with that note, I will hand it over to Vinay. Vinay, if you could walk us through the use cases that we talked about, and then get into the broader spectrum of the data protection portfolio. Over to you, Vinay. I'll stop sharing. You can share your screen.
Thank you. Let me know when my screen is visible. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay, cool. So
Yeah, visible.
In the interest of time, let me get started. We have a packed agenda, but thank you for setting the stage, Orbit team and Amit. So obviously, we've talked about CDP in the past couple of slides. We've seen, there are different data protection strategies, whether it's backup, whether it is storage replication, or whether it is CDP with Zerto, right? So Zerto rotates around three main use cases. One is disaster recovery, cyber resilience, and multi-cloud mobility. And this is what we'll be talking about for the next couple of minutes. Okay. So when you look at disaster recovery, right? We're not talking about something that organizations are unaware of. I'm sure all of you are aware of, disaster recovery. So when it comes to Zerto, it is a hypervisor-based software-only solution, right? Which means that we live at a hypervisor level, and there is no lock-in from a storage standpoint, which means that you could be running any kind of storage, be it a Dell, a NetApp, HPE, anything. Zerto stays storage agnostic. And of course, the reason why we generally stand out is because the CDP solution we offers seconds of RPO and minutes of RTO, right? So within just a matter of clicks, you're able to test your failovers, you're able to failover live, and you're also able to fail back and do testing on the go to be able to stay compliant as much as possible. So what makes Zerto really unique? This is a very interesting slide, right? So let's say you are an organization that does a backup every day at 10 a.m., right, on the left-hand side of your screen. So if today at 10 a.m. a disaster hits you, your cleanest recovery point or your cleanest point of data is almost 24 hours ago, correct? And some people also implement snapshot with backup, right? Which is, maybe every 4 hours a snapshot is taken, or every 2 hours, if it's even more critical, a snapshot is taken. But with snapshots also, you realize that it's 4 hours before the disaster, which means your RPO is almost in hours. And take Zerto, right? In this case, Zerto goes 5 seconds behind the disaster. 5 seconds, or rather, it allows you to rewind back 5 seconds before this disaster hit and recover your data and continue business. And along with rewinding back to seconds before a disaster, it also flags any kind of anomaly. So if there is let's say a ransomware event in your system, then Zerto is able to flag that as a suspicious anomaly at 9:59:55 and let you know that you can rewind back 5 more seconds to 9:59:50, right? And this is really where the difference comes in, where we are able to offer seconds of RPO while backups and snapshot technology offer hours in comparison, right? So take a look at this slide, right? Generally, when we talk about an enterprise environment or a modern data center, there is no application that runs on a single server, right? I'm sure you can agree on that. No application in today's world runs on just one VM. You have interdependent VMs or a bunch of VMs that you put together that make or that create an application, right? So for example, you have web servers, app servers, databases. All of these need to be perfectly synchronized if it's part of the same application. And that's exactly what Zerto helps you do, right? So this is Zerto's protection mechanism, which is called Virtual Protection Group, or VPG, right? And what it does is, if these 4 VMs are part of the same application, then it kind of groups them together as one unit. You can even, protect one server at a time. But of course, if these are interdependent VMs of the same application, then Zerto allows you to group them in together, such that if a database writes a transaction at maybe 2:48:05 a.m. and then the app server processes it at 2:48:06 a.m., then Zerto maintains that exact sequence across all the VMs. So even if they're on different physical hosts or storage, you're pretty much very consistent with your data, and that's what we refer to as right order fidelity. Okay. And the other thing is, I'm sure you know that maybe a database would update at 10 p.m. at night. Maybe the web server would update at 11 p.m. at night. But at 12 p.m., let's say there is some kind of disaster, then what happens is you have these backup windows. You have to be like, I'm waiting for my app server to finish its backup before I can, recover. And with Zerto, because of the whole CDP concept, there is no backup window, right? The replication stays continuous and it stays in near synchronous motion, right? And that really allows you to, not wait for any kind of backup windows or, any kind of job scheduling. And the last thing that I want to tell you about the protection mechanism is, if we have 4 of these VMs as part of the same application, then you can, define a boot order, which means that you can define that the database comes up first, then the application, then the web server. And all of this just to ensure that your application comes online correctly, right, during recovery. It's very important. Okay. So this is my favorite slide, and I'm sure it'll be your favorite too after this. What if you could go out and tell your customers that within 3 clicks we can move your workloads from site A to site B? That is exactly the power of Zerto, because take a look at this. First step, you are just selecting your applications or your VMs. Your second step is about selecting which point in time, because if you notice, we have 5-second gaps between our journal. And third step is as simple as just saying, clicking failover test. And I wish I could show you a demo of this at some point, but it's that simple, right? To move workloads from one site to another. Okay. This is just an example of one of the customers that we had. The reason I put this slide is for you to understand that when we are losing time in recovery, or when we're spending a lot of time in recovery, then we're also losing a lot of money, right? And this customer, when they implemented Zerto, they were surprised on two things. One, the time that it reduced the RPOs, and of course the RTOs, right? Which means that they are able to do non-disruptive testing without having to take their workloads down. They can test on the fly, get reports on the fly, and production is not at all impacted. So that's a very, very important point for certain organizations. Okay. Any questions on the first pillar before I move to the second one? Because we have quite a bit of content. If there are any questions, please put it on the chat. I will try to address it at the end of the session. Okay. All right. So let's look at the second pillar on cyber resilience. Now, cyber resilience with Zerto, the first bit that we talked about DR is more about recovering from, the acts of God, like floods or power outages or some kind of natural disaster. But when it comes to cyber recovery, then you are, talking about recovering from an acts of human, right? And in a cyber attack, the enemy is quite intelligent, quite sophisticated, right? So what they do is they hide in your network, and specifically, target your ability to recover, right? They're looking for your backup server. They're looking for the way you operate. They're looking for the way that, which VMs of yours are critical. So that is what leads to having these challenges, right, with cyber recovery on the left-hand side. So the first one, obviously, attack patterns, right? This is when there's a cyber attack, it's not like a hardware failure. You don't know when it started. A hardware failure, you can still point and say that, you know what, this part has gone down. But with a cyber attack, attackers generally have a long dwell time, which means that they've been in the system or in the network for weeks before they can actually detonate the ransomware, right? The second one is on the blast radius. How can you tell, or how can we tell how far they've moved laterally, right? Our regular backup tools will not be able to help us identify which VM is clean or which one has some infected malware that, when I restore it will actually come up alive, right? The third one on recovery points, right? So if we looked at that on the journaling slide, that if you're using only daily backups, then your cleanest point is almost 24 hours old, right? And if the infection happens or a ransomware happens 2 hours ago, then you are forced into a guess and check type of cycle, and that is obviously leading to a lot of precious days being wasted. And the last one, again on the same lines, right? Today, days or weeks of RPO and RTO wouldn't be something that organizations want. Modern enterprises want to be in minutes and seconds, right? And take, for example, like, regulations like DPDP Act or even CERT, which we'll look at later. These regulations do put a massive pressure on us in terms of being able to report an incident within a certain time interval. Otherwise, we will be penalized. Okay. So what are we doing at a HPE side of it or Zerto side of it with cyber resilience? We basically look at these three pillars, right? We don't treat the cyber resilience as a single feature. We look at it as a three-stage process, right? So you should be able to, detect the ransomware or some kind of attacker early. You should be able to store your data in an unchangeable manner. And the last, once when I say unchangeable, I mean immutable, of course. And in the last, you should be able to recover your entire application or entire workload, right? And this is exactly what we look at. So the first pillar, is detection, and this is your first line of defense, right? But it shouldn't happen in such a way that you're getting a detection, but you're not aware that it's been marked somewhere that, hey, this timestamp is not safe for us, right? What you're seeing in front of you is an example of the journal that we've been talking about. If you notice, if I can get your attention on the timestamps over here, you'll notice that they are literally within 10 seconds of each other, right? So a continuous stream of data is always flowing from site A to site B, and Zerto is continuously replicating, and that's how we're able to create these multiple checkpoints. Now, what I want to get your attention on is this alert, right? So when you do detection, imagine this alert was not there. You could just have a journal, but without an alert or detection mechanism, then it's as good as doing it in a vacuum, right? So with Zerto, there are two things, right? I want to talk about. One is you getting a notification that something suspicious is has been noticed or detected, allows you to be in a position of power to be able to recover to maybe 5 seconds before it, or even 10 minutes. It's totally up to you, right? And this is something that really helps in a resiliency story, because you're not waiting for a full corruption to happen or a encryption to happen, but you're able to recover operations seconds before a disaster. The other thing I want to bring across is in our latest Zerto version, we opened up integration hub, a Zerto integration hub, that is. And this Zerto integration hub, what it is it's a third-party integration hub. And what we've done is excuse me, we've integrated directly with CrowdStrike Falcon, right? So some of you who know CrowdStrike Falcon, you know it's a endpoint detection response tool. So our integration with CrowdStrike, what it does is CrowdStrike detects a threat on the VM at an endpoint or an OS level, and then it signals Zerto to immediately tag a security checkpoint right here in the journal, right? And this basically combines with Zerto's encryption detection, which happens post-encryption, right? So in a nutshell, CrowdStrike helps you pre-encryption with a notification, while Zerto helps you post-encryption, right? So that way you're always one step ahead. Excuse me. Sorry about that, had a bad throat. Okay, so second one is isolate and lock. So detection, you've understood how important it is, not just detect and keep it, but rather, be able to detect and move on. The second step is, what if this attacker has those recovery points that you saw in the journal? What if they try to delete your recovery points, right? So detection is important, but what if the recovery points are gone? So that's where the second pillar comes in. We don't just do the continuous replication of data, but we also isolate and lock it, right? So the first step, where you're seeing extended journal copy. So one thing I forgot to mention in the previous slide is the journal has a maximum number of days of 30, and a minimum journal is 1 hour. So you have a minimum of 1 hour and a maximum of 30 days. But let's say you're a bank, or let's say you're a customer with critical data and you need more than 30 days. At that point, we have a capability called extended journal copy, where you can use this for long-term resilience. Okay, so your primary journal can be kept for days, but these extended copies allow you to keep recovery points for months after. So that provides you with the protection against those attackers who have longer dwell times in your system. Okay, your second step is, now once you've had your extended journal copy, your second step is to have a distributed type of isolation, right? So that's how flexible the architecture is. You can have one copy at the local storage for quick on-site recovery. You can have one copy on the remote storage for disaster recovery, or you can even have it in the cloud, for an off-site air-gapped copy type of thing, right? And step 3 is the most critical. So this is all about isolating the data. Step 3 is about locking the data, right? And that's the most important. So when your data is written to these repositories, whether it's a HPE store once on-prem, or whether it's a S3 compatible cloud storage, it is locked, right? Or rather immutable. So even if the hacker gains credentials, administrative credentials, they can't modify or delete or even encrypt these journal copies, right? They stay locked until that period expires. And honestly, this is what confines to that 3-2-1-1 backup strategy, right? Where you have 3 copies of your data. What was that? Two on 2 different media, 1 offsite copy, 1 immutable copy, right? And the third pillar, this is where everything comes together. Of course, we talked about non-disruptive testing, right? That's the most important thing. There is no, to be able to bring your workloads back into production, you want to be sure that they're not infected in any way, right? So with Zerto, there is no production or recovery impact during a test, right? You can sit on a Friday afternoon, while everything is running smooth, and do a test failover without having to have a maintenance window. Okay. And then compliance, of course, we do have reporting that comes after every test. So you have reports that tell you, these are your RTOs, these are your RPOs, and it'll be helpful for, any kind of compliance. And of course, clean room recovery. This is, talking about a bubble network or a clean room. So you can basically test your data or sanitize your data within a bubble network. And once it's clean, you can bring it back into your production environment. Okay. When you put all of these 3 pillars together, we have another offering, called the Cyber Resiliency Vault. This offering is basically, I would say, your worst case scenario, right? If any of you have a question on your head saying, what happens if my site A and site B and site C, everything is down, right? So for that, this is your solution. Okay. So I'm not going to go deep on this because this is quite a deep concept. But what I want you to know is on the left-hand side, this landing zone you're seeing, this is connected to your production environment, right? So this is where that continuous replication stream with Zerto comes until. But as you move, as the data moves in over here, then it's it doesn't like get into the vault zone in a continuous replication format. It actually is a fully air gap solution, right? And this happens over RCIP, or remote copy over IP, which is an Aruba networking protocol, right? Inside the vault zone, what you'll notice is there is no third-party infrastructure. It is all HPE grade infrastructure, and there is a purpose for that. You can have a vault with even a tape if you want it, right? But the idea is to put in enterprise grade infrastructure so that and air gap it fully, right? So that you can ensure like total survival. You can ensure the fastest recovery that you can over maybe even a tape, right? So this is basically a vault. I want you to just keep in mind that this is your situation when your customer tells you everything is down, but I need my data back, right? So this is for the worst attacks. And inside this vault zone, by the way, you can also test and recover workloads before you send them back into the production. So it's a very interesting solution, but of course, it's a worst case scenario solution. Okay. Now, the third use case, all of you are very familiar with it. I'm not going to spend a lot of time, but that is the final piece of the Zerto story. It's all about being agile. Um, Most of your customers today must be hybrid, right? Not all of them are just like, I only use one platform. So if you look at the bottom of the screen, those are all the platforms that we are supporting with Zerto today, right? So one Zerto instance, and you can move your workloads to the cloud, to on-prem, from the cloud, within clouds, or even we have some MSPs that offer DR as a service, right? So across any of these platforms, right, you have the freedom to move. You can provide your customers the freedom to move across any of these platforms, especially looking at um, the VMware situation in the market. Then when customers look for alternatives, they don't want to work with a tool that is locked down to, native capabilities, but maybe a versatile tool that can allow them to move and give them the freedom to move where they want to. This is some of the deployments that are available today. You can see VME, that is our latest hypervisor solution. So that is KVM based. If you have workloads you want to move out of VMware into VME, VME allows you to manage both of these simultaneously in a single console. So that is a very good upgrade and update. And then, of course, you have the other cloud solutions in here. You have Hyper-V in here. Okay, so you can deploy Zerto in multiple ways. And the last slide on Zerto before I move to the other piece is on analytics, right? One important thing you need to know is when you are using a solution like Zerto or any kind of solution that is storage heavy, you need to know how to size your solution. So once you size the solution, you should be able to have the right storage and the right bandwidth, right? So this tool is called Zerto Analytics, which is basically inbuilt within Zerto, and it aggregates data from all the sites. You can see where there's some sites, there's Hyper-V, AWS, and all of that. So your analytics is basically your platform to be able to be more data driven and have more predictive insights in terms of sizing. And this is also where you can get some of the reports that are available to you. Okay. So last one, okay, I said last one, but that is the architecture for the technical people on the call. You can see it's a very identical architecture on the production and at the DR. There are a few things that need to be changed there, like VME and all. But what is the most important component is the VRA, or the virtual replication appliance, that sits on top of the host. And this dotted line you're seeing here is the continuous stream of replication between production and DR, right? So once it lands in the DR, the journal we talked about where those checkpoints are, the journal sits on the right-hand side. And you can see over here, it says physical storage. This is any underlying storage, right? So that is the point of having a storage agnostic solution. Okay. That's it on Zerto. I will move on to store once, but I think I'll just have a glance on the chat before I do that. Okay, so there's a question on site geography. So with site geography, you can have remote sites. It's not limited down to a local type of replication. You can do remote replication over a wide geo. We have customers doing it from country to country also. So that is fine. Nutanix is not supported. Nutanix is not supported. The only KVM we are doing today is VME, which is our own hypervisor. But with that said, of course, having opened the door for KVM with VME, then we do look to add more KVM flavors in the market very soon. But VME is a great alternative if you're looking at KVM today. All right, so let me get into store ones. So before I get into store ones, just want to say Zerto, just want you to be very clear in your head, right? That a backup solution and a DR solution are not the same thing. What we discussed till now with Zerto is obviously incredible CDP, continuous replication, give you critical RPOs of seconds and all of that. But when we move into store one systems, then we're talking about backup systems, right? So obviously you're looking at a secondary tier for a more cost effective solution for long-term retention, and that's where store ones comes in. Okay, so store ones can be offered in two flavors. One is obviously the physical appliance. What you're seeing in bracket is what do you call it, purpose built backup appliance. And on the right hand side you have software defined virtual storage appliance, or VSA. Okay, so when it comes to deploying store ones, you can deploy it, on either methods, right? It gives you this VSA, by the way, also gives you the same intelligence, but it's just that it runs on a VM in your existing Hyper-V or VMware hosts. Okay, so the secret sauce, which I will show you, is about Catalyst, right? This is where actually store ones is all about. This is where the real power is, right? So this is a high performance protocol that reduces your traffic, and it kind of like speeds up your backup windows. It's Catalyst is not a traditional NAS type of protocol or NFS, that kind of type of protocol. It's actually a very proprietary protocol that very few people use, which is what makes it really unique. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the architecture now that we've seen the different deployment formats, right? So starting at the top, of course, you have your backup servers that communicate with the system. So whether you're running anything on fiber channel or normal IP using Ethernet, store ones will be able to fit into that. Okay, and you'll notice that there are multiple protocols over here, right? So as much as we can present standard NFS, SMB, or even VTL, the actual hero for us in store ones is Catalyst. Okay, so that's our way of taking a backup software and making it much more faster and much more secure. Okay, then when you move in to like the heart of the system, you can see that that's where the deduplication engine lies, right in the middle. And this basically allows you to accelerate the process of identifying duplicates in the environment. So you can store like 10 copies of the same file on the OS, and we just store it once, right? Which kind of like, actually the irony is that's why it's called store once. And yeah, the last one is the file system, of course, that is highlighted over here. That is a RAID protected storage. It's built for ensuring that your data is not only compressed and deduplicated, but also when you want to restore, then it's you're able to restore, right? And obviously the last bit, all of this is only possible if you're able to manage this from a single interface, and that is what is offered with store ones. Okay, just a deeper look on Catalyst, the protocol that we talked about. So obviously, if I double click on this, like I said, it's the main main secret behind HPE store ones. So it's not just a protocol, but it actually saves you a lot of time and bandwidth, right? So traditional way of backing up involves sending your data over the network to the storage box, but with Catalyst then it's more of a client side dedupe, right? So it's more smarter than that, and that's what allows your backups to finish much faster. And the second one, again, on cost effective and being able to move across clouds, right? So you obviously efficiency drops, or rather efficiency increases and cost drops, because you're not just tied to a physical box in a data center, you're actually able to move it across, right? So you also have cloud bank storage, which is an ability to extend these Catalyst stores or the storage volumes to the cloud, whether it's AWS or Azure or even some other storage. Okay. And obviously, from a security side of it, the most important thing is security. So Catalyst has a proprietary format that is not accessible by, like a Windows or a Linux file share, right? And let me see if I can get that. So this is basically what I wanted to build into for security. So consider this to be a backup server. You can have a local backup happen. You can have a file backup happen, but and you can also have a store once backup happen, but then this happens over Catalyst API, right? The other types of backups you can do is maybe a tape or even snapshots. Okay. So once you've understood that, these are possible, when a ransomware event happens in your system, the first thing to try to corrupt is your backup server and your production workloads, right? And the minute that is attacked, you can see that, the red highlights, right? You can see that the local disk will easily get impacted. All your restore points are gone. Your NAS file share can be easily gone. But with Store One's Catalyst, right, we're not using your standard file sharing protocols. That's what allows it to deny the access, right? So Store One's basically the repository is only visible through the Catalyst API. So effectively, when there's a ransomware event, they cannot really view anything because the malware scans the network, looks for targets, and it doesn't find your backup data. Okay, so you can see that the API allows it to be a little bit healthy. Okay. I think this was about CERT. We talked about it. I just wanted you to know some guidelines, very important, that within 6 hours you need to be able to report to the government in case of any any kind of ransomware or cyber attack. It's very important that you are aware of these guidelines because it's not just governmental pressure, but you'll have customer pressure. You'll also have internal pressure to be able to recover as soon as possible. So Zerto, of course, you've seen how it helps you with detection and allows you to roll back to seconds before the attack. But we talked about having those copies stored for long-term resilience, and Store Once is a perfect target for that. Especially the fact that it uses Catalyst allows it to be even more secure, and that kind of like helps you in the longer run. Okay. Last one, I promise I'm not going to take a lot more time, almost done, is X10000. You've already heard about the Electra MP B10000 for your primary block storage and file storage. We also have an offering on the X10000, right? So it's not just a bigger box or something like that. It's actually built for high performance unstructured storage. And it combines its capabilities with a data protection accelerator node, right? So this is basically how I like to look at it is this is my dedupe engine, right? So it allows you to handle, and I'm sure all of you know, when it comes to unstructured data, we're talking about massive amounts of data, right? So imagine the same massive amount of data you're able to protect with efficiency that you already know on Electra, right? So where I want to get your eyes is just on the numbers a little bit. So look at the impact on operations, right? You're talking about almost 22x faster. And the reason for that is, the data protection accelerator node, right? So quite a few things is self-explanatory, but what I want you to know is most customers today don't worry about just the backup, but they care about the restore. So if you're doing like 22 times faster restore, that is where you're already winning. It's not about the speed of how fast you can back up, but it's also about how fast you can recover, right? And this will obviously help you grow out of your traditional backup. And if you need something that is scalable, right? This is a scale out storage, so it will really help. It's the same Electra MP, if you already know it, it's the same Electra MP disaggregated platform, but X10000 is focused on AI and unstructured workloads. Okay. Just the last slide. Let me see if I can build this out. So over here, we have two data protection use cases. Okay. First one is, directly with S3, and the second one is through the accelerator node. Okay, so if you see that on the left side, the pathway with the accelerator node, we talked about this accelerator node. Like I told you, it's the dedupe engine, right? So this uses the Catalyst protocol that we've already discussed, right? And powered by this accelerator node. So when a customer wants, the best storage efficiency, then you can get the same store once level deduplication or immutability and compliance features. Okay, so today you can see that it's also supported by other backup software vendors out there. There's Commvault, Veeam, there's Cohesity as well, and I think, let me see. I thought so. Let's build this out. Yeah. So we do support Commvault, Veeam. It's written roadmap, but then it's already available today. Okay. And the second use case is when you're directly, finding a native pathway directly to some kind of S3 storage, right? You don't need to use a DPA node. So this is more of a direct high-speed connection for, any kind of ISV or Veeam, Commvault, whatever that supports S3 compatibility. Okay. And obviously the end result is the same. It's a shared S3 storage that we're talking about. But whether you're backing up VMs, databases, or even like massive object stores, then you're landing your data, in the right architecture, right? And then of course the restore times we talked about. So that is essentially what it is. All in all, end-to-end HPE data protection for any use case, right? We've covered quite a bit of ground on Zerto, Store1, X10, but I want you to know that we have quite a bit going on with data protection, whether it is a B10,000 where your primary data is actually created, to Zerto, which is for ultra low RPOs and RTOs, the Vault, which is not just a backup target, but your worst case attack. And then, of course, your X10,000 and Store1 systems to help you for a purpose-built backup appliance and to help you with unstructured and scale-out AI workloads, right? On the right-hand side, you have CloudBank and the tapes. We still have tapes, which are highly useful and economic. But the key takeaway here, what I want you to know is it's all about flexibility for customers. So you don't have to, there is no like one size fits all box. You can take what fits your need. Okay. So yeah, I think that's what I wanted to share with you. And if there are any questions, Orbit team, HPE team, we are happy to take those. And if you'd like a one-to-one as well, you can always reach out. I will pass it back to Amit for closing comments, but that's all from me.
Yeah, thanks, Vinay. I think that was really great stuff in navigating us through the data protection portfolio. And I would like to open up for questions. We have another couple of minutes before we close call. If you would like to get more technical or a more deep dive session, I would request that you could get in touch with the Orbit team, and I'm sure the Orbit team will then collaborate with with us, and we are more than happy to come down in person or do another round of a deep dive technical session on any of the solution that you are looking for. But for next 2 minutes, open for Q&A.
So Abhijit, really thanks, and Vinayji, really thanks for giving us a good understanding about this technology. Because obviously, for any larger enterprise, for any company, when it comes to DC and DR and the synchronization between DC and DR, when it comes to RTO and RPO, so this solution will be the best software-based solution which any company can look forward and can see. So yes, the members who have joined us can ask any question. We still have a few minutes left, and you can understand that how it is. And did you
Yeah,
like
I
what
want
how
to
we presented?
share, but for the benefit of time, I want to share a real-time use case which one of my customer last month in month of March, I was in Delhi, and I cannot disclose the name of the customer, but this customer had a partial compromise of their primary data center. To their luck, they were using Zerto and Store1 in to store the data in the DR side. So what they thanked us, in fact, I met the CISO and the CIO also in person. What they thanked us is they said what strategy they used was they hired a third party negotiator to negotiate the crypto and the bitcoins and all that stuff with the attacker. And within what we call it as a DTO, which is a decision time objective. So they arrived that yes, they went through the clean checkpoints which Vinay mentioned, right, which was flagged and all that stuff. They took around 4 to 5 hours to understand how much data they can recover and all the things that they can bring in place. And essentially, they had a downtime of almost close to 8 to 10 hours, but they were able to recover a data of about 30 seconds back in their environment. And that is why they thanked us. And this is a use case scenario which I'm talking, which happened, was narrated to me by one of the CISOs of a company which is very well known in India, right? But I cannot disclose the name. But that's kind of thing that we are seeing, that Zerto, StoreOne's HPE data protection portfolio is able to help its customers. Yeah, on that note, I will take a pause for any questions. All right. So if not any questions, I think we are 1 minute overdue. I would request, folks on the call, if you have anything that you need a detailed discussion, please get in touch with the Orbit team. I'm sure you are well versed with the team, and then we can collaborate and we can have a one-to-one session as well for your organization. On that note, thank you, Team Orbit. Thank you, Kanchan. Thank you, Shivendra.
Thank you, Amiji.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Have a
Amiji.
good evening
Thank you,
ahead.
everyone.
Thank you to the people who have joined and given us time. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.